Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to start with a case of instant regret that demonstrates clearly why you shouldn't hold certain tarantulas. Let's dive in. Now to my eyes that looks like a Poecilotheria tarantula, which I'm probably pronouncing wrong, but anyway, that's the ornamental tarantulas and they are reputed to have a very nasty bite.
So good. This is the worst pain I ever felt.
Oh wow, okay.
This is 1,000 times worse than bullet time, man. Oh fuck, man.
It's okay.
Oh, I always me. Oh, I'm so stupid.
Quite interesting really, the Poecilotheria tarantulas have a venom which is highly neurotoxic, but not neurotoxic in the sense like a taipan bite, so it's not going to shut your lungs down or stop your heart or anything like that, but it'll put you through a lot of pain. So you can have cramps for literally months afterwards that come and go when they feel like it, and there's nothing you can do about it.
So look, the kids here have caught a baby octopus.
A baby octopus? It's a blue-ringed octopus. You can tell by the fact that it's an octopus and it has blue rings.
Look at that, where did it go? Look at that.
Obviously blue-ringed octopuses are one of the most highly venomous creatures on the planet, so probably not good to handle them.
So there, in my hand, is a baby octopus. It's beautiful. Look at all that blue. There's no food here. Look at that. Amazing.
So yeah, it is beautiful, but definitely not for me. I won't be handling them anytime soon. There's kind of two different versions of blue-ringed octopus handling that people tell me. One is that occasionally people get bitten without realizing they've been bitten, and it's when they've handled one not realizing it was dangerous, or they've accidentally touched one. The other case is people telling me that they've handled them plenty of times and never had a problem. To me, it isn't worth the risk. Personally, I just wouldn't touch it.
Chico, para quien diga que son agresivos y que pican porque sí o pellizcan porque sí.
He's basically explaining to us that this is not an aggressive animal, it's not going to do anything. Even if you stroke it harder or whatever, it's just not going to do anything to you. And there's a reason for that.
Gigantometrus swammerdami.
Gigantometrus swammerdami is one of the two largest species in the world, I believe. There's another one called Gigantometrus titanicus, which is closely related, and no one's been able to tell me which one is actually larger on average, so if someone knows, you know, let me know. But basically they're these really big, chunky forest scorpions. People call them giant forest scorpions sometimes, or sometimes they call Titanicus the elephant scorpion, and they're like a big, friendly lobster. They're not aggressive, you can handle them safely, and the reason I know this is because I've got a bit of a scorpion obsession. I've been handling them on and off since I was about 10. I absolutely love them. I've never had a mishap, but still doesn't mean I'd advise anyone else to do it. Cool. So there's someone putting a tailless whip scorpion, which is a different variety of arachnid basically, also called an amblypygid, on their face. Why would you put an animal on your face? I don't know. I've never put an animal on my face. I've never put a scorpion on my face, a tarantula on my face, any other animal on my face. If you see me put an animal on my face, it probably means I'm having a psychiatric event.
Hey there friends, monitor lizards like Joanna here are among the smartest of all reptiles. In captive situations, it has even been proven that monitors can count up to 6. In an experiment done with one of Joanna's close relatives, the white-throated rock monitor, a monitor lizard was placed in an enclosure with a certain number of snails, and it was able to discriminate the number of snails up to 6 in order to get out of that enclosure.
Was that Joanna the Savannah monitor? If so, that's pretty cool. But yeah, it's fascinating. Talking about their intelligence, I like that kind of informational clip that I stumble across sometimes. I show a lot of like ridiculous stuff on this channel, but there are just like good people trying to give you good information basically as well. Then we switch to an animal that is on paper less intelligent. I guess that's a western diamondback rattlesnake, and you know, like I say, on paper it's less intelligent than the monitor, but it's doing something extremely intelligent here, which is a proper threat display where it's rattling its tail, it's raising its body, and it's keeping a segment of its neck curled back so it can make itself look bigger and it can strike, and this is very much a threat display directed at a mammal. Oh wow. Poor fella. It's incredible they can survive like that. That was a young alligator missing most of its upper jaw, basically. It's healed though, it's healthy looking. I don't really know how much this impacts its quality of life, but all I can say is that yes, it does look healthy. I'm really hoping that patch of pigmentation on its tongue is just a reaction to the sun and not the sign of something malignant to come. God. I won't be diving again. Oh, he's talking as well. That was awesome. A sperm whale carrying a giant squid that it's caught up to the surface for some reason. Not sure why it comes back up to the surface. If anyone knows, let me know. And yeah, munching away on it. Giant squid are fascinating because they are the longest squid ever recorded in the world. Previously, scientists believed there were like 20 odd species of them. Now they've decided there's only one very dispersed worldwide species, and they are of course not the heaviest squid. The heaviest squid is the colossal squid, and the thinking is that giant squids are more dispersed and live in slightly warmer waters, so they travel more, whereas a colossal squid lives in very cold Antarctic waters, lives deeper, and that kind of niche makes it profitable for them to be more densely muscled and more kind of dense and stockier overall. Incredible. Look at his little tentacles. That was the hummingbird bobtail squid, which is a tiny, tiny, tiny squid. I believe I read it was about the size of a grape. It's bioluminescent, but it doesn't produce its own luminescence. If I understand correctly, it's got a light organ and it's got bacteria within that create the light. Now this is something interesting. Look what it's doing. See that? It's shooting threads of sticky saliva, gluing the cricket in place, basically trapping it so it can't get away. And once it's fully stuck down, it goes in and munches it, and this is of course a velvet worm. That's from an account called Isopods Home on Instagram. The guy breeds all kinds of incredibly rare isopods and freaky creatures, and that is a velvet worm. They are in the Panarthropoda. They're not a true arthropod, but they are closely related and they're very, very ancient. So what we see in them is a mixture of ancient characteristics and slightly more modern characteristics. They look like a worm, but they're not slimy. They've got antennae, their legs are mobile, but not jointed, and they've got this sticky saliva that comes out and has all kinds of different proteins and stuff in it. So this kind of harks back to the very, very early days of arthropod development, and because they're closely related, it allows us to imagine what kind of molecular toolkit the very early arthropods had. It helps us imagine how things like spider's web and venom came to be. Look at that, he's actually grabbing it. This is a mantis shrimp, of course, clubbing this shellfish. And he's actually grabbing that shell and he's manipulating it and turning it, and he's looking for spots he hasn't smashed yet. That really shows, like, thought, basically. See? There he goes. He's getting the different angles and he's being methodical about it. And then he's getting in to eat it. Smarter than your average shrimp. Amazing. Mantis shrimp have very interesting eyesight. You could probably call them hyper-multichromatic. They have this ability to quickly scan colours and categorize things almost immediately. So they don't think about whether that's a prey item, they just recognize it. And I found it fascinating that it could recognize that shellfish. It didn't just think it's a rock or something. This one I had to throw in. It's not really related to the other clips, but it's a good thing to think about. So you see there's supposedly this cockatoo sneaking up on the doggies to scare them. And then it shrieks and they all scurry and all whatnot everywhere. And in the comments on that clip, everyone was saying, oh, I own a cockatoo, that's just what they're like, and this is real, it's not AI. And I just couldn't believe the incredibly small amount of people that thought it was AI. But if you go back to the start and you look, one of the dogs has 3 legs, 3 back legs. We need to think about this and have a little bit more of a critical view of things online.
Do you like big girls with hairy legs? If so, the Dominican Republic is a place for you because they are absolutely everywhere. The boys and I had these girls crawling all over us, and some of them definitely had a bit of an attitude. After a 30-minute stroll through the forest, we were able to collect over 8 of these giants, with most of them found by my friend Aaliyah, who you could definitely tell is a ladies' man because he has at least 6 on him. Like, come on bro, save some for the rest of us. But you know what? Based on their size, they look a little bit on the young side. Hey bro, did you check their age? Because I know we're on an island, but this isn't Epstein Island. Anyway,
Nice. You're mixing mistreating animals with cringe jokes about women. Wow. We've reached the pinnacle here.
gentle though, because you never know when one of these girls might bite. Even though Aaliyah had the most on him, you know what they say, quality over quantity. And I definitely had the biggest and prettiest girl of the night. But as I experienced, the prettier they are, the crazier they get. And my girl definitely had an attitude and was a little bit unpredictable. And with fangs as big as hers, if she bites me, I should be legally allowed to cry in front of the boys. But I do love myself a woman with pretty long legs. And
okay, that's enough jokes and puns for me. The real reason I cringe when people hold tarantulas like that is because those are terrestrial tarantulas. Terrestrial tarantulas are heavy-bodied. They're a bit different to our boreal species, and what you need to know about them is that if you drop them, their abdomens can just rupture. So you can kill the tarantula if you drop it from more than a couple of feet, basically. So having them crawling around on your hat everywhere, it really shows like a genuine lack of respect for the animal. Anyway, that was the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll be back again next week.